Well, hi, and welcome to another episode of Democracy Theater. I am so happy to be joined by my good friend uh, from the Objective Centrist, Ian Hammenhogen. That is why it took a little longer to get on today because it's worth the wait. So, with no further ado, welcome, Ian. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for that introduction, Rich. I appreciate it very much. It's glad to be here.
So I know you were late to the game. You had to drive home from a meeting, I'm assuming, and you watched the debate. What did you think?
I actually was really impressed with Hillary Clinton. I am not a fan of Hillary Clinton, and I'm not here to be a Hillary apologist. But I am, as much as I can be, in the light of Walter Cronkite or any of the good reporters. I try to be objective, and she fucking nailed it. She did a great job. I don't think she won because I don't think that her message was better than Bernie Sanders, but I think that she outdid even her first performance. Our first debate, I thought she did really well. We did a review of that one. I said the same thing then. And this time, she was polished. She knew it was coming.
No,
she was.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so she.
I don't know why she. I don't know why they were afraid to debate in the first place. Like, I think she was excellent. I think she's been good in every debate, but this one is the best debate political debate I've ever seen. Sorry to interrupt you, but like, it was good, and I agree with you. She was good. I don't know why they don't want to debate. This was a great debate.
I think the reason that she didn't want to debate was strategic. She thought that she was the only person that had name recognition, and she was the only person that had name recognition. Excuse me, I just drank a smoothie, so it's making me burp. Never eat before your podcast, or you will burp on the air. So I learned that from Rush Limbaugh. So anyway, the wisdom of Rush. So I think that she was really well polished. Really, that's just it. And I lost my train of thought. So there.
Yeah, no, I thought she was good. So one of the things that I thought was missing from the debate was I I I didn't think they talked enough about social justice. They spent very little time on that. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more about that. But I love that they spent a great deal of time on foreign policy, which made Bernie Sanders was weak, and uh, uh, as you know, I've come out in support of Bernie Sanders, but I think he hurt himself, and I think tomorrow, when everybody catches it, his answer on who he thought was the greatest threat to America, his answer on North Korea, where he was like the three dictators or maybe one, but they have nuclear weapons. But I think that is going to be caught. I think that will be tomorrow morning when we wake up. That will be the story line from the Hillary Clinton campaign, that Bernie Sanders lost that commander-in-chief moment right there. I don't know. It might not catch on, but I don't think so. I think that's going to be what they're going to push tomorrow for sure.
And what exactly do you think lost him the commander-in-chief position?
The way that he answered the question.
The foreign policy.
Well, the question was, I think, out of North Korea, Russia, and was it China? What's the biggest threat to America?
And he said ISIS.
Well, first he said ISIS, but then they said he said, "Hey, listen, answer my fucking question, dude." I didn't fucking
Yeah.
I didn't include fucking ISIS in
I
the
know,
question,
that's
right?
great.
They
He tried to
wasn't.
go all Republican.
You had
Yeah.
A, B, and C. You couldn't just pick a D. I know, like Rubio can make a third place look like a first place and whatever, but in this world, in a liberal world, ABC. So, and with that answer, he said North Korea, but then he said they had 3 dictators, or maybe they had 1, but he was kind of weird, and like his answer was really, really, really bad. Like I jumped up, I tweeted at that moment that I think Bernie Sanders lost the election at that moment. Um, um,
Because
both
of
both the primary, and if he wins the primary by some miracle, I think the Republicans is going to cease on that answer uh, uh, in the general. And it's, I mean, he has, like, he can turn it around. He's still probably going to win in New Hampshire, and then he has to come out with a really like Barack Obama in the election had to come out with a race speech or whatever to kind of like put white people at ease with the fact that he was black, right? Because for whatever weird reason, we needed that. Like we needed uh, Bernie Sanders has to come out with a really big, detailed, comprehensive foreign policy speech. And it can't wait. Like, this is something that he has to come out with, probably not this week. It's too late to do it before the election. And I don't know if he's going to lose all 18 or 20 points that he was up in the last poll in New Hampshire. But that answer requires a foreign policy speech for sure.
Okay. So I'm still relatively you. I guess I think that Bernie lost the election because of that one question in like his 4th debate. So is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it doesn't take much. I mean, Mitt Romney totally. I mean, he would have lost the election anyway. But what?
Yeah, and Howard Dean had his, hoorah
Yeah, he
moment.
had.
I get it.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, right? But suddenly there is a fucking there's like this dark like there's this thing now, right? The fucking transcripts. Like, why the fuck would Hillary? I mean, I guess she was put on the spot and she had to, but she said she would, look into and find transcripts of the secret meetings, or not secret meetings, but the private speeches where she made 250,000 or whatever for a speech, right? And what if in that transcript there's a fucking moment where Hillary Clinton is like doing that 38% fucking thing that Mitt Romney did? Like, where she's
Right.
total.
Yeah, I think that she won't release those transcripts. The whole idea of that level of scrutiny is legit, but I don't think anyone's going to see the value of it, and she's going to dismiss it until the media makes a huge deal out of it. So unless that happens like right away, because we're already in the primaries, then it's just a non-issue, and she'll deflect. She definitely did a little bit of deflecting, but like generally, she was admitting that her country was questionable. Just certain things that made me think the opposite of what you're saying, that in fact Bernie Sanders was still able to give a better message. And at this point, I think that maybe even if we gave her the win on that, it would still be Bernie Sanders being ahead in the debates. I think that there's more to be said about New Hampshire, or excuse me, there's probably less to be said about New Hampshire than there is about maybe Nevada. So I mean, he's expected to win in New Hampshire. So what's going to happen in Nevada? What's going to happen in Ohio? What's happening in Florida? So those are my questions right now. I think that Bernie Sanders is going to win in Florida, and I think that he's going to win in Ohio. But I don't know, and I think he's going to win in New Hampshire. But I don't know if he's going to win in Nevada. And I'm not sure if he's going to win in South Carolina.
Not as it stands, not even close.
Right, exactly. So
he has to, but that's the thing. Like, yeah. So I don't know what. First it was like 5 points. Now it's like 10 points. I don't know. I think the Hillary Clinton's campaign will declare victory if they get in single digits, right? If they get within single digits, they're going to declare victory, right? They've already put out this narrative that, you know, Neighbors votes for Neighbors, except it's not fucking from Vermont. It's from the other fucking state, you know, old colony state. So the narrative is out there. So I think that if they get within single digits, they're going to do a Mark Rubio, as we're going to call this from now on, when you declare that you win, even though you come in and fucking second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, like, no, I'm the winner. You know, it's like this, like fucking, it's like this thing that where kids get, they get a trophy just for participating. Like this seeped into politics now. You can declare a winner no matter what, you know, whatever you place. I won.
Yep, that's definitely true.
That's getting a little silly.
I think that people's thinking of logic, structure, argument, and just common decency has led us to a point where sometimes even the audience can't tell. Not that there isn't a clear winner, but that the audience doesn't even know. But anyway, getting back to the debate, one of the most interesting was Hillary got booed. Poignant. You know, she said that Sanders was running a artful campaign.
I'm having a totally.
I did not like that. What's going
on? Your voice basically chopped up, but I think you were saying something about Hillary got booed.
Yes, when Hillary mentioned that Sanders' campaign had been of her and her campaign, he did not like it, and he started booing. Or he started saying "ooh," you know, and then the crowd started booing. And I thought that was.
I actually think the crowd started, and then he joined in.
Yeah, right.
Well, I no, there's a distinction in that, but no, I actually think that the crowd started, and then he joined in. So I hope that's the truth. I actually would, you know, he shouldn't ask his members in a political debate to boo at his opponent. So, but I do think that they started, but we can go to the instant replay tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh man, I really thought it was a great debate. I mean, you know, Hillary was weak on Wall Street, and explaining those, those fees or whatever. Bernie Sanders was not strong on foreign policy. But it was a great debate. It almost felt like an episode of The West Wing. Like, it was well, they were making strong points. They were well rehearsed. They did their job. I don't want to declare. I don't really want to declare a winner or a loser. I think it was a tie, to be honest.
Okay, I could agree with that. And isn't the New Hampshire vote tomorrow?
No, the weekend, right? Or is it tomorrow?
I'd have to look it up. But
no, it's just the weekend.
Are they going to? They agreed to another debate, did they not?
Not before. No.
So this is the last one again?
Well, this was the last one, and then they have decided for 3 more. But for whatever mysterious reason, Hillary
doesn't want to debate in
New York.
New York City. Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell? That's her. That's her home state, right? Right. Yeah. Carpetbagger, and it's where her headquarters is. That's where her husband's headquarters is. But she doesn't want to debate in New York. What?
That's strange.
Say what?
I think she doesn't want to upset what she thinks is going to be a clear win.
Wait, she didn't want to bring. Wait. This is actually something we should debate and talk to New York about. Hillary Clinton did not want to bring the revenue of a primary debate to the city of New York.
What? You really think that's what it is? That's absurd.
No,
that's some sort of conspiracy theory.
Like if I was a New York business person, I would be mad that the former senator of my state didn't want to bring that business to my town when she had the opportunity.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? I would be mad about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's weird.
Yeah, I think that the whole not wanting to debate in New York is crazy. I don't know what she's thinking. Other than she doesn't want to upset an obvious, or what she feels is going to be a clear win.
She doesn't want to be in New York with Bernie Sanders. She's not from New York. Bernie Sanders is from New York.
Oh, he actually is. He's from Brooklyn. Yeah,
right.
That's right.
Yes.
He's straight from New York.
Yes.
And so she doesn't want to debate there.
No.
Because she wants to see where she can get with, playing her. I'm a senator from New York.
Well, I don't know. I just think that she doesn't want to go in there. She doesn't want to go in that rumble tumble place of New York. I think, I don't know. I'm really concerned. I'm really, I can't underscore this enough. I am really concerned about Bernie Sanders' answer on North Korea. I don't know how that's not going to turn out bad for him.
It already has in the media. The media has already said that was a really weak answer.
No, it was almost incoherent. Like he said 3 dictators, maybe 1, and then he was a ooga booga booga. I mean, I don't know. That was some really weird shit. That was a really weird answer. I really wish I had the technology to have saved the clip and could replay it again and again and again and again.
No, I'll get you that clip, no problem. It's just a matter of finding it in the different clips that I watched it in 7 different clips, and it's got to be in one of those.
Yeah. So I don't know.
There's already an article about it running around.
Like I can't, I mean, there's no. I was watching the post debate on MSNBC, and Chris Matthews mentioned one of the, and his name escaped me now, but he is one of the better debate preppers, professional debate preppers, and he was seen in the hotel, and Hillary Clinton had canceled several fundraisers to, prep for this debate. and it paid off. I cannot believe that Bernie Sanders did not and have not done better in polishing up and getting a fucking coherent foreign policy script together. Like, it could be Bernie Sanders. I understand it's more pulled back, but you have to fucking have answers, and you need to know the players of North Korea, Russia, China. You can't sound like fucking even remotely like a Republican in a Democratic debate, right? That's just not something you can forgive.
Right. But I don't think that it's going to be something that is going to sink his ship. I think that his constant use, not at all anymore really, but back in the day, his really constant use of the term socialist, I think, is way, way, way more of a ship sinker than clear blunder tonight on. But it's just a problem. Like, he's fucking old. Okay, he's fucking old. He calls himself a socialist all the time. At least back in the day.
Democratic socialist.
Doesn't matter.
Yes.
Just the fact that he uses the word. I totally understand the difference between socialism, communism,
I know
democratic
you
socialism,
I
liberalism, neoliberalism. I totally progressivism. I totally get it. But the fact that he used the word socialism, it's like a cuss word. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, isn't that the guy that said fuck on the air? It's like, dude, just because he said the S word, now he uses the other word, progressive. But progressivism, just to give you a history lesson, is started by adding little bits of socialism to the capitalistic democracy, the constitutional republic that we have today, right? So we could take care of these people when their fucking houses burn down.
But hold on. So I agree with you with a certain generation, right? So, but we're talking about people probably at least 50 or older, right? So that's a group of people that are either going for Trump anyway. They're not going to Hillary in the general. And in this election, in the primary, they're going for Hillary.
When I was a kid in the 80s and in the 90s, I started my interest in politics at age 4, writing a letter to George Bush, trying to protect the Amazon. Okay, so like I've been paying attention to politics since as far back as I can remember. But I remember when George Bush was elected, all that stuff. So when I was a kid, this was not as big of a deal. But I don't know. I'm getting off on a train, so let me just hand it back to you. Never mind. I'll stop.
No, it's fine. Listen. Does socialism still? That's a good question. Does socialism still carry the weight that it did? That depends on the electorate. I don't think that there's anybody my age or below that has this innate fear of socialism and not even communism. Not that any of us want to live in communism, but socialism. Anybody that most people with a little conversation will realize that the iPhone that you are holding in your hand, or any other phone that you're holding in your hand, or the computer that you're using, or the internet that you're using, the technology, the base funding that created that technology, that made it so that people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates took that base technology and created something that was marketable and something that you could commercialize, was all funded by socialism, right? Because that takes this government, the state, to invest in funding, in research that might not lead anywhere, but some of it does. And it's that base research that corporations don't want to do, because there's, it takes decades before you can turn it into money. So I don't think socialism has the same weight. I certainly know that in people like 30 and below, it doesn't. Americans have traveled a lot to Europe, have seen social democracy, which I have implored Bernie Sanders to say, instead of saying he's a democratic socialist, just say he's a social democrat. It sounds better, but I don't think it carries that weight.
Right. So I gotta just say it. So when I was a kid in the 80s and the 90s, it wasn't a big deal to the kids about socialism, but it was a big deal to our parents. And that came across really easily. And it was not ignored, even for me, growing up with hippie parents, for example, that hippies were considered to be communists and revolutionaries. So I, on 2 separate occasions, was lectured by, both times, funny story, were history teachers of mine, that my parents are socialists or communists. One said communist, one said socialist. So I was exposed as young as grade 7 that being a socialist or a communist is a very bad thing, and that you should basically rat out your parents if they are socialists, to your teacher, and who will, somehow shun them. This was in the 90s, in mid-90s. So to me, it was just like a very strange experience, and I was like, wow, you're stupid, because my parents had actually told me about this stuff before, and I was like, no, my parents aren't communists, and no, my parents aren't cult members, they're agnostic, and they had actually kind of prepared me for people telling me that. So it was actually just offensive. It wasn't confusing. But I could see people internalizing that. And having some teacher, this was not uncommon. I'm from California. I'm from Northern California, not even Southern California. And I, on 2 separate occasions in my childhood, was lectured about how bad socialism was. Like, personally, they took me aside, and because they thought that my parents might be socialists. So,
but not because the people had any idea of what socialism was.
Those are history teachers. I think they did, and I think that they were just right-wing people who were of the proper generation to have been instilled with the red fear, and they were projecting this nonsense fear onto people of my generation. And that's what I'm saying, is that projection makes it still possible that there's a significant reservoir of red fear in my generation.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea to prove that I'm right, until we stand in a situation where somebody votes, or we get a way to measure this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Damn. But I don't think so. I don't think so anymore. I think there's an urgency, and this is what I love about Bernie Sanders, and why I support Bernie Sanders, is because there's an urgency of now. How many more fucking generations do African Americans need to wait before they live like equal human beings in this society with all the same rights and obligations as any other person, and the same for Hispanics and everybody else? And when do we all get a chance to live a nice, decent life in reasonable security from hunger and shelter and health? And it's the urgency that he puts on this thing. This is all possible now. Why do we have to wait? You're living a good life now, Mrs. Clinton. You're providing a great life for your daughter and for your grandchildren. They're secure financially forever. When do we get to do that? And I love that urgency, and I think that's something we need. This is not hard to do, and he answered that, and that was his strong suit, right? He answered that well. We get investments in infrastructure, and that will create, I don't know, he said 13 or 15 million jobs, and these are all obviously high paying middle-class jobs. And what does that mean? That means that more people have more money in their pocket. They go out to eat more. They go out and buy new cars, washers, dryers, blah, 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 blah. Build an economy, bottom up. And I love the quote of the night for me was when they were basically asking Bernie Sanders, how do you think you're going to get this through, right? If you are elected president. And he was basically saying, hey, listen, people, you need to understand, I can't do this by myself. So this is a political revolution where I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And he goes through his stump speech again, right? And then he says, and the way to do this is I point to Mitch McConnell and I say, Mitch McConnell, look out the window. And then he has to see, hundreds of thousands of people coming out and demanding change, for him to work for the people and not for the billionaire class. That was, I loved when Bernie Sanders came. And I totally bumbled it up, but got close. But that was my favorite part of the evening.
Well, I think that's about it.
Oh my God! I have to find.
My favorite part, as I said earlier, was when the crowd booed Hillary for making that ridiculous claim that he was making an attack. He was fueling attack ads on her, when in fact it's quite the opposite.
Oh my! I agree. I mean, you're following it online, and again, that's the reason I just can't take it anymore. It is the Karl Rove tactic of complaining that your opponent is doing something that you're doing, right? And the surrogates for the Hillary Clinton campaign have been just underhanded and nasty, and they've thrown everything at the Sanders campaign, and then they've damn near cried sexism every time somebody has said anything about Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. So the Bernie Bros and these memes that are so freaking hilarious that are running around. Like there's this one, and it says, it looks like a sign you would see in somebody's front yard or something like that, like a political ad, and it's got Bernie's face and it's got Hillary's face. On the top, it has a really like obscure, like stupidly not political issue, like ice cream, and under Bernie Sanders, there'll be this like crazy nuanced. These are all made by Bernie Sanders fans, of course, but there's be this really nuanced answer about something really hipster-ish, like, oh, I like the organic free trade, low-fat almond with mint chip yogurt stuff, or something crazy. And then the answer on Hillary's will be like, I like snow cones. And it shows the depth of one candidate versus the shallowness of the other. But people have now spun it as a sexist thing, that it's actually rampant sexism, that the only reason that you would ever say that Bernie Sanders has more depth than Hillary Clinton is because you hate women.
Yeah, but you know what? It's just
fucking ridiculous.
But it's also ridiculous to say that Bernie Sanders has more depth, right?
Dude, it's just a meme. They're people being funny. It's a fucking ice cream.
No, I understand that, but really,
they're not even quotes from these people. But it's just in no way related to reality.
No, I understand, but it's just not fucking helping the debate, right? Because that's
not what these people are doing. They're making internet memes. It is obviously not like political at all. This is literally like painting a picture and then making fun of people for painting a picture of somebody that is a politician. It's just silly. It's like James Franco, draws a picture of Barack Obama, and now that's got to be some sort of political thing. Like, come on, man. These are just
it is political, right?
People and we don't. Silly.
Obviously, the person made a meme because they had a political agenda, right?
It's art. It is political, but it's not necessarily accurate. It doesn't reflect reality. It just.
No, I mean the Republican Party is entirely built on not reflecting reality, right? So, or making policies that are not based in reality. Uh, so yeah, no, it doesn't. But I don't know. Regardless of who I'm for, I'm still. There's no reason. Like Hillary is a capable politician. The problem is she doesn't have a vision. She's not a visionary, and that's what you want. I believe that that's what most Americans want in a president. They want somebody with a vision, and then the other thing is that on the issues that really matter to Bernie Sanders, he has had the same views for 30 years, and he has the same moral uh, code that has run through all of his decisions, give or take, or 90% of his decisions throughout his political career. So it's it's easier to be him because he's just more truthful, or I don't know, he's less calculated, right? But there's no reason to go into to if you're for Bernie Sanders, you can easily just say on on almost any subject, you can just stick to the subject.
Okay.
Talk about trade. Bernie Sanders was there before her. She's now there. I mean, on every issue, Bernie Sanders was either there before her, or they were there at the same time. I mean, I'm sure he's older than her, so he's been there longer than her, right? Like, so I don't know what the debate is about. I mean, the debate is about incrementalism versus the urgency of now. That's really the debate. I'll buy that Hillary is as progressive as Bernie Sanders when she goes home and closes the door at night and she sits and she dreams about an America that she wishes she could create for everybody. I'll buy that. Okay, sure. She just doesn't believe that we should go for the whole enchilada. She believes that we should only take what we can get. And I thought it was I thought that one of the more hilarious moments in the debate was when she claimed not to be part of the establishment because she was running for president as the first woman. Like, that was just hilarious.
That was pathetic. That was fucking pathetic. Clear's just, whatever, man. I don't want to get into it. That was not my favorite moment of American politics. I was like, wow, identity politics, hello. Let's stick to the issues, And she always does this deflecting, where she attacked Bernie on his, what she called it, artful smears, and which is just nonsense. It's like, dude, you are running such a
No, they both
campaign.
do that. They both do it.
You just illuminate what somebody does that doesn't reflect the policy that you want to institute. That's not a fucking smear. A smear is saying, that whatever.
They do
that she lied on under oath, or that she, sacrificed American lives by releasing emails that were confidential or something. That's a fucking smear campaign. Those are things that are not true or are inflammatory and not proven, and using them for your political gain. That's a dirty smear campaign. If
no, they weren't talking about a dirty smear campaign. It was what was the elegant smear, right?
She said artful, but
yeah,
artful,
right? Yeah, no. It's a little twist. You get that little dick in by saying, hey, like he's saying, I'm not interested in the emails. I'll let the process go through. Or he said, I'm not interested in the email, but trust me, Hillary, I get asked about it every day, but I'm not saying anything, right? He gets it out there. He says it. He gets it in the, in the ether without him saying that he's, anything. So, look, he is an artful, skillful politician, but he's a politician like many others, except he has had a very, very, well, won't say except. I'm sure that there are politicians on the right that have had the same consistent. Yeah, Ted Cruz probably would be one on the right that have that. No, you can't even say that. I don't know. Somebody on the right, I'm sure, is at the same consistent from fucking the moment they stepped into politics until they ran for president. The same kind of, you could just follow it. Although I can't. Nobody comes to mind, but I'm sure somebody's there in the in the books of Republican politicians. But he's still a politician, right?
Yep.
So he does it. He does his little whatever.
Well, with that little gem, I have to let you go. I need to go get some food.
Oh man, you haven't eaten yet?
I have not eaten dinner yet.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I really, really appreciate it so very much. Go follow Ian on Facebook as the Objective Centrist. You can find him there. He's also on Twitter. Not that he's very active, but you will definitely see him active on Facebook at the Objective Centrist. Everybody, thank you for watching. Have a great evening. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks again, Rich.
Take care.
See you soon. Bye.
Well, again, thank you all for watching. It was a good debate. And yeah, please follow me on Twitter. Democracy Theater. Find me. Well, you already found me on YouTube if you're watching this, but I'm also on Facebook, Democracy Theater. Thank you again so much. Follow me on Twitter. Bye.